Welcome to the Straight Shootin' View.
Hey, what's up, people? My name is Straight Shootin LJA, and welcome to another episode of the Straight Shootin' View. Now, what I want to dive into is Liverpool's recent form. Yes, again, as it's gotten a touch worse since my Liverpool FC Do They Need to Change vlog. But, as stated previously, we've lost a lot of our high pressing game because obviously we've lost the energy that Henderson brings, and also Fabinho destroying attacks to help us get on our way again. And this is an irregular season. I mean, injuries have been up 30% across the board in comparison to the season before. I mean, Gary Neville, screw what he said. At the end of the day, see my vlog about Gary Neville towing the Sky Sports company line if you want more of my views on what Gary Neville said. But so I won't go into that right now. But focusing on the pitch for the moment, I want to talk about this weekend and Alisson's mistakes plural against Leicester. Now, if we start there in regards to our recent form, not just playing the blame game on him, of course, but he really, for me, didn't need to come out for the ball because Kabak, getting his first start, looked like he had it under control and it would have been a simple routine clearance. But for me, Alisson is one of them ones where he's trying to make up for the mistakes that, as you will have seen by now, against Manchester City. And for me, he's over-trying. And speaking as a player, when you make any mistakes, let alone costly ones, you try to do everything you can to make it right. And for me also as well, Kabak has barely been at the club for 2 weeks. So he and Alisson won't have, say, the partnership that Alisson and Matip or Alisson and Van Dijk have had over the last 2 years. So there's not that level of continuity and understanding yet. And that comes over years in some cases. But for me, I'm going to come in regards to Jurgen Klopp. With the news over the last few days about his mother's passing, I think that Jurgen Klopp is majorly distracted. And considering the kind of manager he is, where his energy is infectious, he gets the guys pumped up, he gets them going, he gets them motivated. For me, he has to have been a bit off recently. And his mum being ill and passing away and not getting to attend his mother's funeral has to have him distracted at the very least. And at a time where the lads need some positive energy, Klopp may not be able to be the usual life of the party he normally is. And I think that's a major factor in regards to form and also morale as well. I mean, it's kind of like in 2001 for me, where Houllier had his heart attack and Phil Thompson took over. And most fans' thoughts at that time, and probably actually the team too, were probably with Gerard Houllier at that time, as opposed to on the pitch. And football, to an extent, can be a confidence game. And players do look to a manager / head coach to lead and inspire. And psychologically, there definitely is an impact when a manager is distracted. For example, let's go back a few years. Rafael Benitez, when he started playing power politics with Gillette and Hicks, aka Git and Tit, before his departure, well, his dismissal, results badly dipped. And I think, personally, that Jurgen Klopp could do with taking some compassionate leave. Because how can you be as focused as you need to be on trying to rally the troops when you're devastated, number one, by the loss of your mother, but also not being able to travel to say goodbye to her? And emotionally, you're probably running on empty. I mean, I can't see Klopp stepping away and having a voluntary sabbatical. And I'm not sure how long his mum was ill for. I'm not even going to try and speculate on that. But from what I've read, she's 81. So she was 81. So she could have been ill for a short time and lost her battle with illness due to age. Could have. But the Houllier example I mentioned, when he had his heart attack, the club did right by Houllier after his heart attack. And I think Liverpool need to do it again now with Klopp after the success he's brought back to the club. And especially with him as a person, like, I think they need to do right by him. But if you combine everything I've mentioned, even leaving out the fact that of VAR and having 9 to 10 injuries at once will decimate any side, let alone the quality of the absentees we've had. And is it any wonder we've dipped this season? I mean, you look at the insanely high standards that have been set and kept up over the last 2 years. Anything less, as I've said before, is looked upon as a disaster. And personally, I don't agree with that mentality, because some of us lived through the Hodgson era. But it's one of them ones, some people criticise Virgil van Dijk for going online and saying, oh, keep your heads up, keep your heads up. Well, for me, he's not going to go online and start burying the players, say, oh, this ain't good enough. He's not going to. But, as said, we as Koppites, we need to get behind the team now more than ever. And especially our manager, who hopefully the board will push the boat out to keep him because what he's done with the squad has been tremendous. And rumours of bust-ups and all that from the buzzards of certain media outlets like the Daily Mail, aka the Daily Fail, among some of the other Twitter ITK accounts, rumours about Klopp leaving. We need a unified force right now, as I've said before again, so we can finish in the top 4 this season and come back stronger than ever next season and potentially win the league again. Because the league has gone this season, let's be honest. With Man City's form as it is, it's gone. But again, it's one of them ones, there's a lot of people expecting former players or current players and captains to come out and start burying the boys and going, oh, this is not good enough, this is not good enough. It's like, as I said about Alisson's mistakes, when you make a mistake, let alone a costly one or costly ones, you will, as a player, speaking from experience as an amateur league player, if I make a mistake, it's one of them ones, I will try and do everything to make it right. Everything. So there will be times where you'll end up over-trying and overcompensating for your mistake because you don't want to feel like you've let the side down. When you make a mistake, if you're a player worth your salt and you care about the team that you play for, you will feel that whenever you make a mistake, you've let the side down. Even if you haven't. Mistakes happen to all of us. Blips happen to the greatest of teams. So it's one of them where it's like, I think we can bounce back from this, but we need to regroup. And with the games coming thick and fast, we've got Leipzig coming up soon. It's one of them where the game's coming thick and fast. There's no real time for us to feel sorry for ourselves. But at the same time, there's no time like the present to knuckle down 2, 3, 4 times as hard and pick that standard up again. But it's one of them ones, it's going to take a mammoth effort. And a lot of players have to now look within themselves, because as I said, the manager is going through an extremely tough time. If you've read the quotes that Jurgen Klopp has come out with about how much his mother meant to him, he actually does say, she meant everything to me. She was the best mother. She meant everything to me. You think Jurgen Klopp is not heartbroken about losing her? Whether her battle with illness was short, long, whether it was expected or not, whether it was on the horizon or not, it doesn't matter. I mean, I can speak honestly from instances within my own family where I can safely say on behalf of some family members who haven't been able to attend some of the funerals because they're shielding or just because of COVID-19 restrictions, that they'd have been heartbroken, that they're heartbroken because they couldn't attend the funeral and say a last goodbye. That is heartbreaking as a normal person. So it's one of them where that can't be underestimated psychologically. And I said then there's a case of mental fatigue, physical fatigue, burnout, injuries being like muscle injuries being up 30% this season in comparison to last. It's one of them, that's pure like physical fatigue, but mental fatigue as well. I mean, mental health has been a major issue during the lockdowns in the UK. But so you can't just sweep that aside. So it's one of them ones. I mean, injuries being up across the board, obviously every club has to deal with that. So that said, that's not an excuse. VAR, same thing. It's like, yeah, it may be kind of going against us this season. I encourage you to look up ESPN FC because they've been doing number crunching in regards to how VAR has affected every club. And last season, We weren't the biggest beneficiaries by a long shot. We were breaking even. This season kind of worked against us a bit, but again, it's not an excuse. It's fact. Not rumour, not supposition, but fact. A lot of you fans might try dealing in that. A lot of you pundits may want to start dealing in fact a lot more often rather than rumour, supposition, speculation and innuendo. And you Koppites getting on Klopp's back, getting on players' backs at the moment, you might want to look inside yourselves, because I know you ain't perfect. So you can't expect perfection from these lads who have been giving everything over the past 2 to 3 years to get us to the spot that we're in now. As I said, I hope FSG really push the boat out and say to Jurgen, you know what? You need to take some compassionate leave. Your job will be here when you come back. Take as long as you need. If you need a couple of weeks, if you need a month, mourn the passing of your mother and get over that, because health is wealth, especially mental health. Like this club can carry on. We can have Pep Linders step in for the moment, but it's one of them was you've got to get yourself right. Mourn the passing of your mother. Your job will be there when you get back. We are not turning our backs on you at all. There will be a fickle minority of fans who will always be fickle, who will always be moronic, and who will always turn on people at the first little sign of trouble. Nah, we can't be like that. We cannot be like that. As said, we've stuck by managers in the past. The love we have for Rafael Benitez, the love most of us had for Steven Gerrard even after the slip in 14, where it's like, I was like, no, can't blame you for that. You know what? After everything you've given for this club, I can't blame you for losing us the title. Can't blame you at all. It's the same thing. This little blip here, remember Gerard Houllier? The club got behind him and were like, you know what? Take as much time as you need. Remember, Houllier came back early from that heart attack. So it's one of them ones where it's like, take all the time you need, Jurgen. Straight shooting LJA. And a lot of us true Koppites are behind you, and we're behind the boys right now because you need us more than ever right now. We're behind you. You know what? I have been straight shooting LJA, and on behalf of myself, this has been the Straight Shooting View. Remember, twitter.com/Pitch Talk or at Pitch Talk on Twitter. Tweet with us, follow us, see what we are up to. Facebook.com/Pitch Talk. Become a fan, become a friend, become a member of the group. Join the footballing revolution we are working so hard to create. We are also on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. We're on Podbean as well, Podomatic. Get that RSS feed, which is in the description. Add us to Player FM. Also, we're around on YouTube as well. YouTube, you can catch video versions of the vlogs, Podomatic, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and also Player FM. Add that RSS feed to get the audio versions of our podcasts as well. As said, I have been Straight Shooting LJA. Catch us on youtube.com/Pitch Talk and at Pitch Talk on Instagram as well. I've been Straight Shooting LJA, and for another episode of the Straight Shooting View, I'll catch you soon. Thanks for your time. Join the Pitch Talk revolution on social media, dropping vlogs, videos, and podcasts on the beautiful game.